Hey everyone, it's the Angry Honey Badger, and it's time for us to take a look at the most recent patch notes that Riot has released. This is patch 3.04. Gonna go ahead and cover some of the changes that are happening in this patch. Gonna go over those, give you my input on them, see how they should affect the game, or if they don't affect the game at all, because they might not be important, who knows. I haven't looked at these yet, so bear with me as we read through these. It's always a fun surprise for me and for you. Alright, so starting off at the beginning, for champion changes, we have Elise. Her neurotoxin, the cast range, is going to be reduced on that just by a little bit. The damage is also going to be reduced on that. And then her venomous bite, the damage has been increased on that. So what they're going to do basically is, and it says up above kind of what they're doing here, is they're going to make her a little bit better in, or actually, they don't want to make her as viable in her human form because it's too easy to get off too much damage and you can play way too safe. So they're going to give you a little bit more increase on her venomous bite when you jump into spider form because that usually takes a little more guts. So taking risks will be more rewarding in that manner. So that's her changes. She's a really strong champion right now, so this really shouldn't affect her. Obviously, she won't be quite as strong, but obviously venomous bite got increased, so that's never a bad thing. So this is kind of a trade-off, so no big change really. Next, we do have Janna. We have her Howling Gale. They fixed a bug where the knockup duration was not increasing based on the charge time, which is a problem. And then the knockup duration when fully charged increased to 1 second from 0.75. So that's actually going to be a little bit more viable and kind of just be a little bit better for her. Next, we do have Jarvan, the Golden Aegis. The shield amount per nearby enemy has increased on that a little bit to help you out, and the mana cost has been reduced on that. And then his Demacian Standard active no longer grants bonus armor. So Jarvan's also been pretty strong lately. He used to struggle from huge mana issues. I think they're still tweaking this, so it's going to have the mana cost reduced earlier on that shield, so that's going to be a good thing for him. Obviously, the active no longer grants bonus armor is going to be a bit of a problem, but he was able to basically max that first and get pretty tanky in lane, and he was kind of hard to deal with because of his passive, which is pretty awesome. So this should make him, I'd say, a little bit more even lately. All Jarvans I've seen have been really good. Next, we have Nami, the Tide Caller's Blessing. Added new visual effects to better communicate the amount of charges left, and the duration has been increased to 6 seconds from 5 seconds, so little changes there, nothing major. Next, we do have Singed. His Fling, the damage on that is going to be reduced at all levels, and then the ability power is going to be reduced on it as well. If you're building Glass Cannon Singed, you were doing a lot of damage with your Poison Trail already, so I think they were going to kind of take some of the Fling damage down. And then Insanity Potion no longer reduces the duration of Disable, so a little bit of a change there. Tiny bit of a nerf, but if you're playing him like a tank, you probably won't feel these too much. So nothing too crazy going on there. Then next, we do have Taric. Shatter damage is going to be reduced at all ranks, and the armor damage ratio is being reduced by 10%. Dazzle's stun duration is adjusted a little bit to start lower and get higher instead of it just being at 0.1 or 1.5 at all ranks. So technically a nerf to Taric. He actually is the most winning champion in League right now. I know they just tweaked him in last patch, but they didn't get it quite right. He's still really, really strong. Probably one of the only carries where I would suggest after your carry dies, continue to fight them. You'll probably kill them anyways because Taric does a lot of damage by himself. So they're just trying to still fix him a little bit, that armor ratio and the damage on Shatter and all types of stuff. So he's a really strong support. He always will be because of his kit, as long as they don't nerf it into the ground, which they really haven't yet. They're just trying to make him a little less of a forced ban in ranked play, because nowadays you pretty much gotta ban Taric if you want to get rid of an annoying support character. So some tweaks to him nonetheless. Alright, next we do have some item changes. Not too many champion changes this patch, but nonetheless there's a few. Alright, so then for item changes we have Blade of the Ruined King, hot fixed on 3-5. The attack damage on that was reduced in case you missed that. They took it down by 5. The combined cost was increased because of the stats it was giving you, so now it actually costs the exact same as a Bloodthirster. The maximum damage dealt to minions and monsters has been reduced to 60 from 90, and the active heal amount is now reduces by the target's armor. So I put this item up against Bloodthirster because somebody was arguing with me on a video about how they thought Blade of the Ruined King is the best first item. I said that I liked Bloodthirster. They disagreed. That was fine. So I went and ran a test with a friend. We used the same champion, same runes, masteries, and everything. Started fights, and we did all types of fights. We did just standard attacking. We did just standard attacking when the Bloodthirster had no stacks, when the Bloodthirster had full stacks, when you could use abilities, when you could use all types of stuff. So we tried this out with just these two items, the same champion against each other, just hanging out in the river. And what we found was, as much as the Blade of the Ruined King does give you that increased attack speed, the only fight it won was the fight where we were only standard attacking and the Bloodthirster had 0 stacks. So it was close every time, I will say that much. But Blade of the Ruined King, I will still maintain, is a little bit better a little bit after your first few items because that percentage damage really isn't there yet. And because it only gives you 25 attack damage right now, if you're building it in lane, you don't have a lot of poke. It's a little bit harder for CSing. It's a little harder to get some of your hard pokes off, and your abilities do not benefit from that attack damage. So just kind of a side note, thought some of you should know. This building a BF sword early, since it's built in the Bloodthirster, gives you a lot more poke in lane and a lot more early damage just because a BF sword is 45 attack damage. So by the time you do max that out and you have full stacks, a Bloodthirster just really hurts a lot more, especially when combined with your abilities. So just a little side note for anybody who's confused whether or not they should be building Blade of the Ruined King first or a Bloodthirster. Next, we do have a look, or a little bit of a change to Aegis of the Legion. The aura grants an additional 50% health regen, armor, and magic resist for minions, which is kind of cool. Runic Bulwark, the combined cost is being reduced to 400 gold from 650, and the health is being reduced on that by 100. The magic resist aura is being reduced by 5, and the aura now grants that additional blah blah for those minions. So, kind of a little bit of a tweak. It was a really strong item. Everybody I know who was a support or was in the jungle or was the tank were all kind of fighting on who should build it because it's pretty awesome. I do like that item a lot, especially for a new magic resist item since, wow, Force of Nature's gone. I almost forgot the name. I will never forget Force of Nature. That item was too good. Hopefully it comes back someday. But, so a little changes to Bulwark, but still really good item, especially for the team. Next, the Locket of the Iron Solari, the combined cost is being reduced on that by a little bit, and the health is going to be reduced on that by 100. Next, we have Renan's Hurricane. The second target radius is being increased on it a little bit, so it's a little bit easier to hit people, so they don't have to be quite as much stacked on top of each other. And then it's also fixed a bug where Hurricane could target invisible enemies. Alright, then next we do have Sheen. The combined cost is being reduced on that to 365 gold from 425, bringing its overall cost down to 1200 gold from 1260, so just making that a little bit cheaper, a little bit easier to pick up. And that will mean that that will affect the total cost of Trinity Force. That's going to go down a little bit, so Trinity Force got cheaper, so never a bad thing. And since that's also part of Lynchbane, Lynchbane is going to be a little bit cheaper, so total cost is unchanged, but the beginning part apparently is going to be changed, so increased. Total cost unchanged. Alright, nonetheless. Alright, so then Iceborne Gauntlet. Combined cost has increased on that, actually, and the armor has increased to 70 from 60 on that. The ability power has been reduced to 30 from 40. So, little changes to that. Nothing too major, but something to note. Next, Ravenous Hydra. Combined cost is being reduced by 200 gold, and then the lifesteal is going to be increased to 12% from 10%. Next, we have Zephyr, which the recipe is changed on that now. It's a stinger, a pickaxe, and 725 gold. The attack damage is going to be increased by 5 on that, so a nice little change to that. Next, Warden's Mail. The attack speed reduction has been reduced to 15% from 20%. Randuin's Omen. Attack speed reduction reduced by 5% since that's built into that item from Warden's Mail. And then Seeker's Arm Guard. Ability power reduced by 5 on that. Next, we do have some rune changes. The cooldown reduction per level runes has increased at all tiers, so kind of a little change there. Next, there's just some little spectator mode and some other chat stuff and just some general things, but that's pretty much the patch notes. Not tons of changes this time. It's just nice to see them tweaking some stuff and not really overhauling half the champions of the game, so that should mean everybody's pretty fair currently, besides the karma rework that we have coming up in the future and all types of little things like that. So that's pretty much the patch notes, guys. If you have any comments or concerns, or you hate something that Riot did, or love a change in this patch that Riot made, you can go ahead and put your your responses to all of that down in the comments section. See what that's all about. You guys can all argue with each other, and maybe I'll chime in if something's important. But other than that, I'll just see all of you guys in the next video.